Hello YouTube, it's Griffoniac here, coming to you live from the Moonlight server tonight. I am coming home from a little boat ride. Took around the ocean just to have a look around. I think that's my forest, and what is that? Just kidding. I can't play the dork. Look what I built, guys. Built a giant sea monster. I'm pretty pleased with myself. You may have seen at the end of my last episode, and if you haven't, shame on you for not having watched all the way to the end. Absolutely every chance that I get, I put a little something in the end of the episode after the credits, or after the sign out. And you should have seen, after the last one, I was blowing up this peninsula, and I blew it up, dug it down, made a water barrier all the way around, and you can see that water barrier now so that I could work, because that Nessie, she goes all the way down. She's a complete monster. This isn't just an image, a nod, it's a complete monster. This water here is refusing to be fixed, but the rest of it as soon as I finished the monster, I went and filled it all in. So, yeah, anyways, that's what this episode is about. Not actually about the new mobs coming in 1.8, but I am very excited to see more reasons to explore, more reasons to have oceans and stuff. So hooray for that. Very, very, very excited. But this is my sea monster, and she is a nod to my patron Hype Game Boy. The idea being that back here is my root of awesome. Oh, and I can increase my that'll do. The idea being that my root of awesome is just right here. That is Maya's Cafe. Ooh. And if things will load, come on, load. There we go. You can see Nessie from the deck of Maya's Cafe. So I knew I wanted to build a thing just right there, something interesting to look at. I didn't know what, and I knew that I wanted to build some kind of monster, sea monster, some kind of something mystical, magical, mythical for Hype Game Boy, and now it's reading. So anyways, it all worked out, and I built Nessie. And we're gonna clean it up. So the irony of all of this, of me showing you this, is that I spent easily 2.5 to 3 hours in creative building her. I just went to Google and looked for my favorite pictures of Nessie, and I got my idea from the picture and just kind of built until it looked right, trying to keep the build somewhat smallish so that, you know, one, it didn't take up all my resources, and two, I was able to make it look right from the distance. Excuse me, Mr. Skelly, but I don't appreciate it. Get owned. Anyways. Yeah, I was trying to keep her small so it would look right from this distance, and it's really hard to build detailed monsters with Minecraft blocks. So it took 3.5 hours in creative and like 5 or 6 hours in survival here on the server. So what's going to take me essentially 3 minutes to show you took me over 8 hours to build. So I figure we'll spend a little time with her. You can get a feel for how complete this is, and also I spent 8 hours on her. I don't want to just walk off. I'm really quite pleased with myself. You can see the little cavern that I created to work in. It was a really good idea on my part because fighting this water would have been a royal pain. There are a couple different kinds of Loch Ness Monster pictures, and some are a little more sea serpent, some look a little more like, you know, like an old dinosaur, and that's my favorite kind. I like to believe that she's still out there. She, you know, this seems to be the most graceful and elegant image of her. That's my favorite. And I went for dark brown, like just straight brown clay, and white clay, which I took from the mesa. I don't remember if I took the brown clay from the mesa or not. I think I did. Pretty sure I did. I had considered doing a grayish Nessie, but I just really like the way that the brown and the white clay look together. And then I used, that's an ice block, just not compressed ice, just regular ice block for her eye. There's I tried clay, I tried stone, I tried, you know, I knew I wanted a blue eye, I just didn't really know what kind, but I really like the ice the best. It's the prettiest. And then I had it completely worked out in creative. Usually when I do a big build like this, I will do maybe 50 to 75% of it in creative so that I get a good idea for the color palette and the size and where I want the details, but I won't actually put in the details. But because this was an organic build and a lot of how it looks depends entirely on the placement of blocks, I went ahead and built the whole thing so that I could constantly do fly arounds, and I would fly back to roughly where the cafe is so I could see what it looked like there, and I would go underneath it. I actually built it up in the sky, and here in a little bit I will show you the actual creative thing. But I decided that completely building the thing was better because this is not a build that I'm used to. Making creatures out of blocks. I'm not very used to that, and I couldn't just wing it like I usually do with my buildings, where I get it started and then I wing it based on, you know, what I like at the time or what seems to work, the environment and stuff. I just couldn't quite manage with my skills. So, hello, Mr. Squid. And I'm glad that I did it that way, because when I went to go build it, it looked like that wasn't a source block, but I guess it is. When I went to go build it, it was really difficult to transfer between creative and survival. I was having a hard time figuring out which blocks went where, and I figured if it was that hard for me to figure that out, I could imagine winging it and getting it right, because she's not exactly square, and I wanted both sides to be identical on either side. So being able to fly around to fix all that really sped up the process. Hi, Mr. Creeper. I know you think you're gonna blow up my build, but I spent way too much time on it. I do kind of wish I'd made the neck a little taller, a little straighter here, but once I got building, I pretty much just followed the pattern that I had in creative, because again, I didn't want to mess it up, and it's very difficult to do a lot of the flying stuff, or the really tall stuff without flying. So this is going to be Nessie's little nest. Like she's hanging out in a warm spot. And I'm hoping that she'll look pretty cool from Tango's volcano, which we'll actually go and look here in a second. Figured I'd left my boat all the way over there. Just need to knock the ground down a little bit more so it's not quite as visible. And in theory, you know, she could clear it. But what have you guys been thinking about these world tours? I know they're slower paced, and I get a chance to ramble, and sometimes I don't have a whole lot of really interesting stuff because a lot of survival building is planning and resource gathering, and so it takes a lot of time to get a complete build out of anything. Hello, Clay. But I've loved being able to build without having to stop and record progress. And that really, it helps not interrupt the creative flow at all like that. And I've been consistent. We've had a Moonlight every week for a month, and more or less on time. I'm pretty pleased with myself. This is something that I think I can keep up for the majority of the time. Might get a little iffy the last week of June because I have PlayOnCon and I'm taking my kids with me, so that means it's a family trip that I really need to plan. Mr. G's coming too. He's going to meet us there. He'll be on a business trip prior, but if you're going to PlayOnCon, make sure you look out for the fedora, because I will probably be wearing it. And make sure you say hi. I'd really quite like that. So, yeah. I'm going to just take a quick break to give you a nod to my patrons, and then we'll jump into creative and have a look and see what I built. Because it'll be easier than swimming. Swimming, so much swimming. Okay. Alright then, we'll be right back. Okay then, and we're back. So this is the creative version, or what's left of it. I did destroy a few blocks as I was building, because I had the creative world up on one side, on one monitor while I was building in survival. So like over here I knocked this detail work out so that I could count the neck. But you'll notice here I actually have light gray stained clay and brown, but I ultimately went with the white because I liked the contrast, a little bit brighter contrast. But I had built the thing with like light gray. But I like the white better. Also, this is me testing the eyes. Blue is just too intense. The ice definitely was the better option there. I built up out of the water so that I could see whilst I built, but I placed the ring, the main ring, where I actually was going to put it so that I could estimate. And then I kind of built like a mock neck, and I flew over there so that I could see roughly what it would be like at this spot. Then I just built it up out of the water. This being the, you know, water line. And I started with the main body, just that circle that you see there. I built it, and then I kind of expanded and built it more, and adjusted as I went. I was listening to, I think I was in Desi's stream when I did most of this. I find that I do a lot of my best building when something else is occupying the thinking center of my brain. Like when we do SMB and Schism goes into the deep end. I like to build then because he's got me thinking, and so I know it's like the right side of my brain functions better when the left side of my brain has something to do. So this is kind of why I started playing Minecraft, was to release the creativity. I started playing Minecraft because I had a lot on my mind. It was just really tough time for me, and when I got into Minecraft, I would just build, or I would just mine for days, or do something, and it always seemed like I got my best thinking done during those times. So yeah, I did consider doing that. It just didn't quite look right. I also considered a line up this way, but also it made the neck look a little more crooked. Lots of placing and breaking and placing and breaking in the creative process, but I love it. I'm so glad we have creative mode, and I'm also really glad that the guys let me have a creative version of our map, because it really helped to have the location available. But yeah, that's Nessie, Graph's creative process. I spent 8 hours on her. I'm still not quite ready to say goodbye, but that's gonna be it for this week. I've got a lot more building that I've got in process right now, but we will show that next week when I've got just a little bit more done on it. I did some work on Fred in the end, and I kind of did some unwork in the spawn area. I don't know if we'll show that, but and I've been able to do some more sponsor features all along my road. But I'm hoping to have the road extended a little bit more by next week, and possibly have Fred finished, though I may or may not have the game that goes with Fred finished, and do some more patron sponsor features. So anyways, thank you for watching this week. Leave a like. Let me know if you're going to be at PlayOnCon here in 2 weeks. And I guess that's going to do it for us for this week. We'll see you next week. Bye guys!